Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Refounding Fathers. And special welcome to our favorite, specially assigned FBI agent who listens to all of our podcasts and puts us on different watch lists.
I wonder how many we're on at this point.
Definitely at least 12 no-flies.
Damn it, how am I supposed to visit my family?
Walking?
Oh,
I mean,
that's a long walk.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like you're not on the no-drive list.
Yeah. So, just a little precursor here. We have kind of relocated briefly, specifically for this podcast, because we could not do this without the whiteboard being next to us. And also the whiteboard is screwed into the wall, and I didn't want to take it out, so...
Yeah, so this podcast is going to be very aggressive because, there's a lot of stuff going on right now, and we are a group of very angry men at this point in time. So bear with us. Maybe we'll drop some good ideas. What'll probably end up happening is we'll probably just end up screaming at nobody and, blowing off some testosterone. But, yeah.
But until this podcast is over, you're going to have to deal with the occasional sounds coming from a refrigerator and the occasional sounds coming from a hot water heater because they so happen to be in the same room as us. And I have been coughing all day, so just prep yourselves for that.
Tuberculosis.
Damn way to die.
Yeah. Alright, so we're going to start this off in a non-political... Well, it's political in a way, but not our standard political stuff. So, Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker released.
And just to let you know, I haven't actually seen it yet. I have seen a couple of reviews of it, and I have been briefed on the storyline, so my opinion weighs a little less than Levi's opinion because he has seen it all.
Yeah. Whew.
Where in the convoluted bullshit do we begin?
Fuck Rian Johnson. Fuck Kathleen Kennedy. Fuck Disney. They should have never been allowed to buy Star Wars. If the Star Wars universe was going to be expanded, it should have been done in the hands of a competent director. This movie is basically saying that The Last Jedi, which is directed by Rian Johnson, is basically none of what happened in that movie mattered at all. Which is good, because that movie was absolute garbage. But it made it to the point where The Rise of Skywalker has to be so insanely convoluted to wrap everything up from that film to make everything actually make sense.
Kind of makes sense.
Yeah. That it really bogs down the potential of the movie just because they're trying to fix a mistake.
So they wrap up... Here's a good piece. They wrap up the storyline, which is important in any trilogy. The third movie should definitely wrap up the storyline, which they did. They managed to do that. But they introduced, at least in Star Wars canon, so many fucking things that could be nitpicked to fucking oblivion that it is retarded. Because that was the only way to wrap up the storyline. Yeah. They couldn't have weaseled that shit around in another way that didn't make it a giant fucking bowl of spaghetti you spilled on the ground.
Yeah. And there is, as there always is, like a childlike adoration for Star Wars because we grew up on it. That was our childhood. I remember being 6-7 years old, and after church, me and all the other 6-7-year-olds would also go outside into this forest of bamboo, and literally beat each other with these toy lightsabers until we were bleeding and bruised, and it was just good fun. And Star Wars was it was one of the big things I was raised on.
Yeah, it was the same in my family specifically. When we lived in the middle of nowhere for a while, we would go, there was this small forest of not bamboo, but these weird sticks. Mm-hmm. They were trees that grew funny. They're foamy in the center, but they're light, so they're easy to swing. Yeah. And we would go over and we would break the dead ones down, and we would use those as lightsabers and just beat the shit out of each other all day.
Yeah, it was fun.
And make whooshing sounds with our mouths.
I bet I could beat I bet I could beat Daisy Ridley in a lightsaber battle.
But one that isn't choreographed in her favor?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I whoop that ass. But yeah, Rise of Skywalker. Fun to watch, but when you actually look to see what's underneath the film, it shows the dark side of what has become corporate Disney and what Disney has created. Basically created a monopoly on our childhoods and nostalgia.
Yeah, they're so much of, and this isn't even just this movie, it's the other movies as well. They introduced so many new things with the sole purpose of being able to make fucking toys and t-shirts and merch and all that shit.
And like, yeah, George Lucas literally made the prequels just for toys. We get that.
Yeah, and I don't think the prequels did the original series any kind of justice. But, honest to God, George Lucas, you did a good fucking job with the prequels if we're comparing it to these last three movies.
Yeah, you think?
I mean, if we're comparing them, yes.
Which is surprising. Like, it's amazing how the prequels didn't have, like, any, like, political agenda.
At least not one that you could see.
Early, that was early, like, those were released in the early 2000s. There was a lot going on. We were invading Iraq and Afghanistan for no reason. We were...
like...
9/11 had just happened.
There was a lot of shit going on that had people politically charged on opposite ends.
Patriot Act.
Holy shit, yeah, there was a lot going on in that fucking time frame. And George Lucas was just like...
I'm gonna make a movie that sells toys. Really don't care about any of this. But no, Disney comes in, we're like, we're gonna have lesbians kissing in the last scene. We're gonna have pink-haired butch dyke lady subvert your expectations by destroying the masculinity and the fucking rebels.
Yeah, so that was one of the things that I absolutely hated. Because of the butch dyke lesbian chick being the all-powerful, obviously I know everything kind of person. It was the fact that so much of that movie could have been avoided if she just told everyone the fucking plan.
Yeah.
Because then they wouldn't have done a bunch of stupid stuff to get themselves fucked up even worse and destroy half the damn fleet. Like, it's just bad movie writing. You wrote a bad movie.
Yeah. And, like, even the protagonist is such... She's just too overpowered. Like, God almighty. Even the Mandalorian, like, Baby Yoda, he's stupid overpowered. He picked up a fucking rhino with the Force, and he's, like, human time 2 months old. Whereas the real Yoda literally struggled to move a beam.
Yeah, like, so that was one of the funny things that I mentioned before. Like, in this new series, the Force is just being abused. And the idea of the Force is being abused.
Yeah.
Like, you can see the strain in all the fucking Jedi's faces when they have to use the Force for something. Like, it looks like it fucking hurts to use. But, you know, they're trained, they're masters, and there's a whole massive group of them who can all communicate and teach and learn the Force off each other. But when there's only fucking 4 of them in the whole goddamn universe, suddenly they know how to use all these crazy powers that, like, you rarely see in Star Wars or you haven't seen in Star Wars. How did they come up with that shit? They just thought it up themselves and then immediately trained themselves on it in a quarter second of time? Like, it doesn't make sense. At least, unless you, like, decanonize all the other movies and all of that shit. One of the funny things that I mentioned yesterday, when Palpatine is, like, tearing them fucking apart with his life-sucking powers.
Yeah.
What was he doing? Literally physically removing the midi-chlorians from them? What part of Star Wars Force are we keeping canon? Like, someone explain the science behind it.
God.
But that's nitpicking.
The only way Disney can, like, this is, like, super nitpicky. The only way Disney can, like, at least make its ridiculous overuse of the Force make sense is if we have a movie about just Vader, like, hunting down Jedi when he's just, like, literally ripping worlds apart with his power, because that's literally the only place they can go now, which would make the Death Star unneeded.
Yeah, I mean, if you can disable a whole fucking fleet with Force lightning, what the fuck do you need these huge ships to destroy planets for? How did you lose? Like,
you're literally a weird, like, demigod thing.
Why didn't you just take the place of fucking Snoke, Emperor Palpatine, and actually do the damage that would have stopped your plan from being ruined? How do you fuck this up? But that's just the lack of understanding of how things work or how things are going to work, and then just the use of stupid shit to make the story wrap itself up was ridiculous throughout all of these movies.
Yep.
And it goes back to, like, little shit, like, how did Rey beat fucking, what's his name in the first movie lightsaber battle? I know she had, like, a staff and was kind of trained on using a staff, but there's not really any proof of that. She carried a staff. Was that simply because she didn't have a blaster? There was no proof she was fucking amazing with that staff, and there was no evidence of her childhood training with it.
I think she fought, like, some, like, dudes at the very beginning of The Force Awakens with the staff. Pretty sure that happened.
Okay.
Doesn't mean that she'd be good with a lightsaber.
Yeah, you train with a staff, and then you train with a sword, and two totally different fucking things.
Yeah.
Totally different fighting styles and theories behind the way you're supposed to use those things.
Right.
Like, I don't know. It's just everything about this movie these movies was just bullshitted and thrown together because they couldn't come up with anything.
Yeah, like, if Luke had fought Darth Vader in A New Hope, that would have made absolutely no sense whatsoever.
Yeah, because he had
no
fucking training. He would have got his ass whooped.
Yeah. Obi-Wan got his ass whooped.
Yeah. And that actually did make sense. Because he hadn't fucking used a lightsaber in forever.
Yeah.
Like, skills die if you don't maintain them. It is kind of like riding a bicycle. You can pick back up on it more quickly, but stuff like that made sense. And then he basically said, like, I can't fucking beat this guy. Lowered his fucking weapon. And got murked.
Sacrificed.
For, the sacrifice of being able to help him as a Force entity instead.
Anyway. Yeah, that was one of the more autistic segments we've had.
Yeah, that was. But strangely enough, that was the most lighthearted thing we'll talk about all day.
Yeah, so the President Donald J. Trump was impeached. And why is he not out of office yet, Ryan? I thought that he wasn't our president anymore because he got impeached.
Impeachment is the process of getting him to court. It basically means we got him and now we can try him. It doesn't mean he's been convicted. And what is people's goal with this? First off, no one understands the fucking law. No one understands how any of this works. They're like, yeah, fucking impeach him, blah, 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 this, that, or the other, but literally no one knows what the fuck that even means. So...
Because of everyone's knowledge of government comes from a federal government class.
Yeah. Which is just...
literally pretty much telling you what they want you to hear so you don't have to think about it too much.
Yeah.
Anyway, you had
to do your fucking taxes.
Yeah. Well, they did that on purpose too.
Yeah, I mean, we can get you on tax evasion and get way more money out of you.
Oh yeah, or you have to use a tax program that lobbies for taxes to stay complicated so they can make more money. Fuck lobbyists.
Oh,
anyway,
that's on the docket. That's on the docket. We'll get there.
Anyway. Yeah, president got impeached for something.
Literally all I have heard is impeachment talk, but I don't actually know what he's been impeached
I swear
for.
to God, they've just been saying the word impeach so much that everyone just automatically thinks that he's done crimes. Listen, he probably has. I think every president is guilty of a crime. They all do shady shit behind back doors or behind like closed doors. They all do that stuff. I don't know if they have reasonable proof of him doing the things they say he does, which is literally just something about Ukraine.
Phone call. Like, it is so vague on purpose.
Yeah, exactly. And I love how for years it was Russia. Russia got Trump elected. Russia meddled in the elections. Yes, but we've been meddling in each other's. First off, we've been meddling in Russia's elections since before the Cold War. They've been meddling in our election since before the Cold War.
We have been.
But why is it
coups?
Why all of a sudden is it Ukraine? That's not Russia. What are they talking about?
Well, it might be.
We really don't know. There's always some kind of weird battle going on down there over whether or not Ukraine's Russian or Russia's Ukrainian.
I think they just want. What's that property there?
Oil?
No. There's like a certain part of Ukraine that Crimea. I think
Crimea.
they just want Crimea.
Interesting.
And Ukraine's like, no, but the people of Crimea are majority like, we really don't care.
But yeah, nothing's going to come of this. The whole impeachment thing is just a giant distraction from some of the biggest news stories that we have ever seen in our life.
Yeah.
The Afghanistan papers and Epstein.
Yeah. And we already brushed on the Afghanistan papers in another podcast.
We already talked about Epstein.
And we already talked about Epstein.
It's literally, oh shit, the people are going to find out that we tricked them into going into a war that we had no intention of winning. And the entire government is run by a weird sex cult. So let's impeach this president guy who doesn't really do that much. He's just like, basically a celebrity, but we have so much of the country divided on whether they like him or not. They're going to be more up in arms about him getting impeached than they will be about the things that, make the news for 10 seconds and then disappear because it's not as important, because it's not a popularity contest.
And what kills me is that the people who want this to be a popularity contest because they either like or hate Trump, the people who like Trump for the fucking wrong reasons. And the people who hate Trump for the fucking wrong reasons. Like, I can't stand, fucking orange skin, yellow hair. He looks like a fool. I don't want to rag on my grandmother here, but she's brought it up a couple times at how incompetent he sounds and all this other stuff. And you can't... I understand he's supposed to be the face of fucking America, blah, 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 this, that, and the other. You cannot base your decision on whether or not you like Trump as to how retarded he sounds or looks or anything like that. It's based on what he's done or is going to do or is trying to do.
Yeah. Those
are good reasons to hate Trump. Because Trump is doing things we don't like. Like...
bump stocks.
Oh my god. Everyone's like, yeah, Trump, the best thing for the Second Amendment since the Founding Fathers.
Oh, you know what? The Hearing Act is about to go through. You know about this whole conspiracy, right? All right, so the Hearing Safe Act was basically a law to take silencers off the National Firearms Registry list.
They were having a hearing for it.
Yeah. And then
a week before the hearing,
we had Las Vegas, which that is the one shooting that I will say without a doubt in my mind that was a false flag attack. There was no justification for that being some random guy who was just rich and then shot the place up because he felt like it. No. That machine gun he was using was a belt-fed machine gun. There is no bump stock or bump stock user on the face of the planet that can maintain a rate of fire that
consistent.
Well. Yeah, consistent.
Because it is using a bump stock is not easy. You have to the level at which you activate your muscle in a forward motion regulates the speed of your fire. There's no way you can be that fucking consistent with it. And also accurate on top of consistent.
Yeah,
Like-
and anyway, like, yeah, we're getting into this.
Okay, we're getting into the shooting, and
But-
that's not what we're trying to do.
Yeah,
but
but basically what happened was
there
his
was
brother...
a fucking false flag
Yeah,
attack.
his brother, like 2 days later, he was like, "No, my brother would never do that. What are you guys doing?" And the FBI raided his brother's house and found like a computer from like the 1990s that had like a terabyte of child porn on it. Like, really? That sounds a little staged to me. And then the FBI's like, "Oh yeah, there was no motive for the shooting. Just six. How many people died? Like
57?
Yeah, 57 lives lost. No
Well, like
motive.
hundreds of injuries.
Yeah. Oh yeah, there was like 300 or 400 casualties total. But no motive for that.
And they're fine with there being no motive. They are totally fine with...
Yeah, they dropped it.
He just did a bad thing.
Yep, dropped it.
That's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
But, so what we were saying is, a week before this hearing, the only mass shooting that I can even think of that has ever been committed with a fucking silencer or suppressor.
Silencer.
Okay.
Semantics.
Some people get shitty about that. Was done a week before the hearing to get silencers off the fucking NFA.
I don't think he was using a silencer.
No, they were suppressed weapons found.
Ah. So yeah.
He wasn't using it.
Yeah.
Which, honest to God, if
Everyone's like, "Oh yeah."
none of that shooting makes sense.
Yeah, like, "Oh, he had like 50 guns in his apartment or in his hotel room." You can only shoot one gun at a time effectively. Why would he bring 50? Why would he take the time to disassemble, hide, and then transport 50 different guns to his hotel room? 2 or 3, yeah, makes sense. Sure.
Weapons go down.
50?
And all the information on it is like ass fucking backwards. It's like you can't get a straight fucking answer out of anybody. Because I'm pretty sure they never determined whether or not a bump stock was actually used. But that'd be easy as fuck to determine. Was the fucking shooter found with a bump stock that has recently been fired? You can tell, I mean, especially with the amount of fucking rounds he shot, you would be able to look at that weapon and say a lot of fucking ammo has been put through this recently.
Oh yeah.
Especially with the fucking ability of law enforcement nowadays. There is so little factual information that actually came from that shooting that it doesn't make sense. It doesn't even sound like anyone walked into the fucking room and looked around. Otherwise, they would have specifics. Like, because the number of guns that was there went back and forth between 50 and like 6.
Yeah.
How do you confuse 6 weapons with 50? How do you get information that fucking different? Obviously, no one did a fucking investigation. Or looked. No one opened their eyes in the room that it happened in.
Yeah. That was bullshit. Something's going on there.
There's something fucky about that one. And that fucky thing is probably...
I'll bet my life on that one being like conspiracy material.
Oh, yeah.
Wow, yeah, they got a little drawn out from impeachment.
Yeah, we dragged that one a little weird. This is gonna be one of those podcasts.
Yeah.
It's
Gosh.
yeah, it's just gonna be one of those.
So yeah, now we're just waiting to see if Trump's gonna get removed from office. They still have to do a bunch of legal stuff. Blah blah blah. It'll be interesting. Either way, I don't think anyone wants Mike Pence as their president, so that'll be interesting.
That'll be way more funny when they're super mad that they impeached him because Pence is worse.
Yeah, he's like, "All right, guys, gay electroshock therapy."
I mean, at least he sounds less ridiculous, but
He's just so far.
I would rather a ridiculous enemy than a not ridiculous enemy.
So, yeah, true.
Right?
Lord, may my enemy be ridiculous.
Yeah,
And like Trump has done some good things.
economically.
Yeah,
And I would say foreign
but
policy.
so did Obama.
Economically?
Not economically, but Obama did do some good things.
Oh, yeah, I agree with that. There's no president who does just bad things.
Yeah.
But all of this is going on right now. I think the impeachment stuff was trying to distract from some of the things we were talking about just previously,
Yeah.
but I think it's helping, it's just coincidentally also helping to distract from whatever that fucking new bill is there that just passed.
Oh, is this the segue?
That's the segue.
Oh my god.
The fact that we mentioned it was a segue made it a shitty segue.
Yeah, so I wish I knew what the bill is called, but it's basically, 3.2% increase for military vets, $1.4 billion for the wall, and somehow, and here's the kicker, raising the tobacco age to 21. And the total cost of this bill is $1.4 trillion. So that's going straight to the national debt, rounding it up to about $25 trillion, probably. Probably getting close to that.
Why is no one... we'll go on that topic for a second, before we dive headlong into this bill.
Guys, that amount of debt collapses nations. That collapses worlds.
And creates very difficult political situations. Super complex political situations, like between World War I and II political situations, because now everyone is hedging bets on countries that they're so fucking invested in that haven't returned the investment that they have to. It's almost like having a treaty with them, because you need them to survive to pay your fucking debts back. Like we're getting into a fucking world that just we're getting ready to live in a world that isn't worth living in.
Is it worth living in now?
Now that is quite the fucking question. But everyone keeps talking about having a balanced budget and a non-complicated tax system and this and that, these fucking empty promises, and as soon as they get to fucking office, they start throwing around more fucking national debt after all they'd sold you on the whole fucking campaign was the fact that they wanted less debt and a balanced budget. What is so complicated about delivering on that promise specifically? That is one of the only promises that has never actually been brought to fruition.
I do think Reagan did, temporarily.
I believe he cut spending and debt a lot. I don't think it was enough to... it was helping, but it wasn't enough. So, I mean, there was someone who got in the right direction. Yeah. And that's one of the things that I do like about Reagan. We can talk about Reagan all day.
Yeah.
Because he did some things we do not like.
You can't carry guns to polling booths. Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
Machine gun amnesty. Get the fuck out of here. Anyway, we're getting off topic. I'm getting off topic.
So, this bill...
3.2% pay increase. How do you feel about that?
3.2% pay increase. Okay, so if you work a job that gets yearly raises, they're normally cost of living raises, and they're slightly based on your performance. If you are going to run anything in the government like a business, we should not be voting on 3.2% pay increases every 4 to 8 years, because people get anywhere from 2.5 to like 4% pay increases a year normally as cost of living things.
And we'll do a podcast on how we think like the military was designed and how it can be improved. But even with a standing military, the defense budget is out the ass, and soldiers are still getting paid shit money because half the military budget goes to other countries.
Yeah, for their defense. Use our money for your defense.
Yeah.
We're bailing out countries that can't afford their own fucking armies.
E2 over here, who's actually a good private, which is rare, who joined the military at age 25 because, he wanted to serve his country, has a wife and a kid. The only thing that really benefits him is the healthcare system in the military. He can't afford rent off base. He can hardly afford food.
And the fucking military healthcare, I'll say it like this. I had to have a surgery myself when I got back. From Afghanistan.
Yeah.
And that was one of the most pleasant hospital visits that I had ever had. But that was because I just so happened to be delayed enough to where I didn't have to meet the fucking hospital rush of all the stupid bullshit that was going on from the people who came back from Afghanistan with me. And my shit got delayed just long enough to where I was literally, there were, in a whole wing of the hospital, there were 2 hospital rooms being used. I was in one of them. The nurse came in and just talked to me for like 4 hours in the middle of the night one time, which is super great for me. I enjoyed every second of that, because when you're having fucking fever dreams and tripping balls on drugs that make you see crazy shit after a traumatic event like a surgery, dude, it rocks to have company.
Was she cute?
It was a dude.
Oh.
Super
Was he cute?
good. Yeah, was he cute? Super good dude. Actually, all the people in that part of the hospital, super great people. I enjoyed every fucking second compared to my other hospital visits.
But you know you're the exception, not the rule.
But I'm definitely the exception. One of my NCOs in my company has just had such a fucking nightmare. He will not walk for the next 6 to 8 months because of a botched surgery. And then when they went in to fix the botched surgery, they botched it the exact same way again. And they were like, oh fuck, okay, well we gotta do another surgery. So they did another one. They botched it the same fucking way again, and now he's scheduled for another one in like 6 months. And until then, he is in a wheelchair and will not walk. And he's also in fucking immense pain.
Yeah,
because it's a.
Then they put sutures into his nerves.
Upon closing the wound, they sutured his fucking nerves and caused nerve damage in his leg. He is fucked for a long time. This was and this is because he got blown up.
This isn't even the VA.
No, it's not. The VA is worse because of wait times and shit like that. But this is average army healthcare. You have a problem that was caused directly by the fucking military. I mean, this dude was blown up in Iraq. Mm-hmm. They finally got around to fixing the problem. They waited till the problem was so bad they had to do surgery to fix it. And then botched it, and now he's fucking scheduled for another surgery, which they'll probably fuck up again. And I feel so bad for this guy.
I may be wrong, but I'm pretty sure a bill just passed that negates the law against medical malpractice in the military. I am pretty sure, and I might be wrong, this might be something that they're trying to pass. I'm pretty sure you can now sue the doctors for medical malpractice in the military, which is amazing.
You couldn't do that?
No, you couldn't do that.
Why did it take us this long to figure out that was a good thing?
Because it's probably the government's money.
Fuck, man. That's another problem. Okay, you sue this fucking doctor, and now you get a payout from the army? From the money you gave to the army? We're getting into levels of complication that can only be... We gotta explain our military system before we can go too far into why the military's fucked. Because it won't make sense unless we go through our whole plan.
Yeah, that's a whole podcast in itself.
It is.
And we haven't even, it's like our reconstitution and our retax plan. It's so complicated, and we need so many more people to get in on this so we can actually develop something that isn't just us being an echo chamber for ourselves.
Yeah, and that's why we're delayed right now. So me and Levi came up on an issue in our reconstitution, and we have a fundamental disagreement or two. Yeah. And until we can get that sorted out, we can't continue with it, because I don't want to write something that contradicts our actual beliefs.
Right.
So that's what we're going through right now. It's the same thing with everything else. You'll have an entire podcast once we finish the reconstitution.
Finish our tax plan. Literally, just the Bill of Rights is enough of a podcast.
Oh yeah, so
we have
these are just what we've got right now is just the amendments, and we don't have all of them.
Well, the Bill of Rights.
Okay, yeah, the first 10 amendments.
There are amendments that are in the Bill of Rights.
Yeah. But there probably won't be that many amendments in our Constitution in general. But
sidetracked. Anyway, about this bill. On top of military raises, they also snuck in a lot of shady shit. But the biggest one that we are most pissed off about is the tobacco age. They snuck in a law where the federal age to purchase tobacco will be 21. I will one-up the federal government and say, okay, I joined the military when I was 17.
Me as well.
I started using tobacco when I was 16.
I started using tobacco when I was 13.
Yeah.
That's not an endorsement. If you're not using tobacco, don't use tobacco.
Yeah, don't use tobacco. If I can get captured by the enemy and held in an internment camp where my balls are being stabbed with a knife every 10 seconds, I should be able to smoke a cigar.
Yeah, or throw in a lip, or fucking one puff a cigarette,
or drink a shot of whiskey.
Yeah, so this isn't just tobacco that we've got a problem with here.
So now, fuck you, federal government. Raise the age to join the military, 21.
Yeah. I'm not considered an adult enough to make the choice to possibly get cancer down the road, way down the road, then you do not have the right to allow me to lay my life down for my country until I'm also that same age. Obviously, I'm not enough of an adult to make a decision that big.
And then they would raise the voting age to 21 too. Listen, here's the Refounding Fathers' opinion on voting. If you pay taxes, you get the right to vote. Period.
Yeah.
If you are a 15-year-old kid working at McDonald's part-time while you go to high school and you're making $7.50 an hour and the government takes 50 cents of that $7.50 every paycheck, you have the right to vote.
Otherwise,
even if you're immature, I'm sorry, you pay taxes, you get to vote.
Yeah. Because
if you
otherwise, you're not being represented, but you're being taxed.
Taxation without representation. The founding
overthrew
fathers
a fucking country for this.
Yeah, they literally shot cops and soldiers because of that.
Yeah, I mean it's that fucking simple.
Yeah, sorry.
Like, that's a clear cut.
Yeah.
If I'm being taxed, I get to vote. If I can't vote, you can't fucking tax me.
Mm-hmm. So one or the other. Decide.
Yeah, you gotta
pick your poison.
You gotta fucking choose on that one.
But yeah, so this goes out to all my soldier boys. I know you probably have no idea who we are, which is probably a good thing.
Yeah.
But as a non-commissioned officer in the United States military, to all my soldiers out there, and to all my other NCO brethren, and whoever is over the age of 21 in the military, I implore you to buy tobacco for your younger Joes. Because this is literally a law that deprives them of their rights that they fight for, serving their country.
Yeah. Same. I mean,
literally ignore this law.
And I would totally say yes. Buy your soldiers. Buy people. On the inside, we are all fucking people, whether you're in the military or not.
Yeah.
If you want to make the decision to use tobacco, dude, we're here for you. Because it's not fucking right. You cannot deprive people of this right because you want to improve their health care.
Fuck it. Why don't we just make it the soda purchase 21? Hamburger, fast food 21.
Yeah, I mean, it's all bad for you.
Fuck it.
I mean, heart disease is right up there with fucking cancer when it comes to death rates in this country.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. If you can't smoke cigarettes, then you're also not able to eat anything that isn't healthy.
Cancer rate's pretty high right now. No more technology.
Yeah. We're shutting 5G down right fucking now.
5G is one of those I'm really not okay with, but that's...
I know, that's what I'm saying. But this is a ploy. If they can regulate, if they can push the age to use it and deny what we consider adults, when you're 18, you're an adult, legally, for the most part, in America. What is stopping them from completely banning? Prohibition didn't work, but what is stopping them from completely banning tobacco and alcohol? What is stopping them? Absolutely nothing. They could totally do that if they wanted, and they could relive the goddamn prohibition.
But alcohol is more accepted socially, for whatever reason.
Yeah. I don't get dirty looks when I fucking drink a beer out.
Yeah.
I get people walking by, like, fake coughing when I smoke cigarettes in public. Like, come on, be a fucking adult. But at the same time, this is all being pushed so that they can regulate how healthy you are, so that they can justify universal health care.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Because if part of the reason that I am totally against universal healthcare is people treat their fucking bodies like trash. I am one of them. But I don't want you paying for my bad decisions. Because I do treat my body like trash. I mean, I'm young, I guess I can still get away with it, but who knows for how long. They want you to drop that part of your argument. They want you to go, well, I guess if everyone is forced to live healthy, then I'm totally down to pay for their healthcare. Because that is my talking point for the most part when it comes to socialized healthcare. You treat your body like trash, I am not responsible for the fucking repercussions of your actions. I should not have to pay for your 6 heart surgeries because you weigh 750 pounds.
But what if I'm a healthy individual and I haven't done any of these things to my body, but I still have health problems?
Yep, sorry man, luck of the draw.
Pay for it yourself.
Luck of the draw. We've all got health problems in our bloodlines and all that shit.
But Medicare is expensive.
Because the government
Regulates it!
Because the government regulates the shit out of it. I could get cheap-ass fucking healthcare for small problems. If it wasn't for the government saying, you're not a licensed doctor, you can't sew this guy's finger up. What? But I can sew my own finger up in my house legally? Why can't I pay someone who's trained to do sutures, but isn't a fucking doctor or registered nurse to sew it up for me because I don't know how to do it? I do know how to do it, but for all the people who don't, because that's not a common skill,
yeah,
you could easily pay for a fucking $10 vial of lidocaine, a needle, a syringe to introduce the lidocaine, and a $3.99 suture kit. Or suture set, which is just the fucking needle and the suture string. And then whatever the doctor charges as a, or not doctor, the person charges as a service fee. You could get your finger sutured up for 50 fucking bucks. And it would take 10, 15 minutes.
Yep. But what about the people who are doctors that do awful things to your body and fuck you up and cause issues for the rest of your life? Malpractice, motherfucker!
Yeah. They fuck up, sue the shit out of them. Go for it. That's why that system is there. I would, I would do that as a service.
So people...
You could be a fucking barber doctor. Not actual doctor, but a barber who does small medical fucking procedures on the side.
Yeah, and I'm not saying we're not saying super invasive stuff or like prescribing narcotics.
Yeah, I'm talking about you get this vial of lidocaine I will inject into you, and I will suture your finger up.
Yeah.
I will patch this and disinfect it for you.
I will give you a cast for that arm.
Yeah. Like...
That shouldn't cost $5,000 for a broken arm to be fixed.
No, it should not. You get someone who is medically trained to set your fucking arm. To the standard that you deem acceptable, whatever you would pay, whatever price you put on it. Is it worth me going to this guy who's cheaper and slightly less trained than the guy who's more expensive? It should be competitive. Mm-hmm. But it's not, because the government regulates the shit out of it. And the barriers to entry are massive.
That's why I say we are not living in a capitalist society anymore. And I will say this again, any country with any type of social safety net, like social health care or social security or welfare, is by definition a socialist country.
Yeah. Even if they might have a type of free market, they might have a small portion of their economy is free, or a large portion of their economy is free. If they are socialist.
If the lowest level person of society cannot fail, you're living in a socialist country.
Yeah, and this isn't to rag on poor people, or hungry people, or homeless people, but you have it so much better than it could be because of this fucking socialist system that we're in.
Yeah.
It is hard to die in this country.
Yeah, you have to try,
like,
basically.
If you're starving to death, it's because you're not using a resource that is there already. There are plenty of fucking systems put in place to help you with food, and there are not just charities, but there are government resources and everything. I think that a lot of that should be done away with. You should help people when they're down, but it should be your community that helps you when you're down, not the fucking federal government.
It should be voluntary.
Yeah. That went a little not far from healthcare, but we definitely took that down a little bit of a different road.
Yeah. All right, so there is a video going around of
Oh, fuck.
police officer responding to a suicidal man call. And these two officers show up at this guy's house. The suicidal guy is standing in his driveway with his hands up. I don't know if I'm assuming they detained him. And these two officers go into the house for some reason to make sure there aren't any guns in the house. And there's like several children hanging around, and this officer's like clearing the house for whatever reason, like just walking around making sure there isn't anything going on.
And he hears a dog.
He hears this 35-pound Boston Terrier.
No.
What was it?
Whatever the Target dog is.
Yeah, whatever the Target brand dog with the it's like white, has like a target on his eye.
Yeah, which I think is all the more funny, but this is sadly not a funny topic.
No. This dog is like 35 pounds, could easily be taken out with like a swift kick or honestly probably a harsh yell.
Yeah.
This dog barks at this stranger who is hanging around the children that the dog is used to, so he was probably trying to protect them, thinking, this guy's strange. I've never seen this guy before. Is he supposed to be here? I don't know. And the dog's going, hey, what are you doing here? Bark.
So the dog, he's walking back towards the back of the house, looks down this hallway, and then he turns around and he goes, I hear a dog, and laughs. And then walks back into the living room where all the fucking children are. And this dog, which, I'm going to say this, if your dog does not bark when there is someone it doesn't know in the house, you have a broken